Another day, another podcast, my man.
Yeah.
We just crank them out. We are the machine.
We are the podcast machine.
Yeah. The big wheel in the sky, if you will.
Big wheels keep on turning.
I was thinking of the Journey song.
Proud Maverick, keep on something.
Turning.
They're both turning?
Yeah.
Big wheels are turning and Proud Mary's turning?
Of course. Proud Mary was a riverboat.
I did not know that.
I think I made that up, but I also think I might be right.
that.
I might be right, actually.
Well, Big Wheel, Proud Mary, that makes sense.
Yeah, the
And
big
it's
wheel.
rolling on the river.
Yeah, I think it is. I think I was right. Subconsciously, I think I nailed that.
It was Proud Mary, a boat.
Was Proud Mary in the song Proud Mary a riverboat?
Who sings that? Credence?
You ever been on a
Is that
riverboat?
Credence?
Tina Turner?
No.
She does.
Tina Turner? Oh, yeah.
Yes. But I think Credence did do a cover of that
Yeah,
as
it
well.
was written by John Fogerty.
Oh, there you go. So he didn't do a cover. Tina Turner did a cover.
Yeah, I didn't. I guess I do remember that. But Proud Mary, yeah, by Credence. Yeah, you're right. Ike and Tina Turner. They redid the song in 1973. Oof. Oh, or maybe
Don't piss off that guy.
Who? Which
Ike.
one? Ike.
Oh yeah.
I like Ike.
He wasn't a good gentleman. He liked the drink. If
Ike
you know
Turner?
what I mean. Yeah.
I don't even know who that is.
It was Tina Turner's husband.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I figured that much.
And he was a background singer.
Oh, okay.
Well, like he sang with her.
Well, it sounds like he was a front ground singer if his name's in
That's true. And he had a stiff backhand.
Proud Mary was a tugboat.
Oh, a tugboat.
A tug that inspired the song. So, I mean, I'm guessing it was a paddle boat.
So you probably
Boat.
a battle boat?
Paddle boat.
I thought you said a battle boat. Of course, that's what I would assume as well. Yeah, paddle boat. That's what I was thinking.
Okay, there's some interesting facts about this song. In the beginning, Proud Mary had nothing to do with a riverboat. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. I mean, I'm the one who said I thought it was about a riverboat, so I would have known.
You do know about riverboats.
I do, actually. I'm in the business of riverboats.
Not a lot of paddle boats, probably.
No, but
have you ever taken
on the Mississippi River? There is a lot of paddle boats actually that still do.
But they don't actually operate by paddle boats.
Yes.
The paddle is just for looks.
No,
They got big diesel engines under there.
that power the paddle.
That seems like a terribly inefficient way to do things.
There is 100% still paddle boats that operate on the Mississippi River.
I've been on a paddle boat on
And they
the
do, like,
Illinois River.
They do
and it
dinner
was a
cruises.
cruise
Yeah, dinner cruises.
out of Starved Rock that we took once. My
Probably.
family went on that. So in the beginning, Proud Mary had nothing to do with a riverboat. Instead, John Fogerty envisioned it as a story of a woman who works as a maid for rich people. She gets off the bus every morning and goes to work and holds their lives together, he explained. Then she has to go home.
because she's proud.
It was Stu Cook who first introduced the riverboat aspect
I
of the
knew
song.
Stu would do that.
The idea came to him as a group watched the television show Maverick, and Stu made the statement, "Hey, riverboat, blow your bell." John agreed that the boat seemed to have something to do with the song that he may have been brewing in his mind for quite some time, waiting to take conscious shape. Kind of like you.
Yeah.
You just said that. It's just
It
intuitively
just, like,
you knew it in
happened.
the back of your head.
Yeah.
When he wrote the music, he made the first few chords evoke a riverboat paddle wheel going around. Thus, Proud Mary went from being a cleanup lady. That's a weird phrase. They say cleanup lady, but I think what they meant was cleaning lady.
Yeah, I think so.
To a boat. There you go.
Okay. Now we know.
And the song came together on the day John Fogerty got his discharge papers from the U.S. Army.
Huh.
Interesting.
I guess I didn't even know he was in the Army.
I know a guy who's a big John Fogerty fan.
Me.
Me too. I mean,
He's
who isn't,
phenomenal.
first
Yeah,
off?
right. First off, any red-blooded American better be fans of John Fogerty.
But my brother-in-law, Greg.
Gregory?
Yeah, he's currently trying to learn his catalog of music on guitar.
Yeah. Is he taking guitar lessons or something? Or is this like a
I don't
new
know.
thing for him?
I don't know, but he was wanting to. I know that. I don't know if he actually ever found anybody to give him lessons, but I'd give him lessons.
Can you play the guitar?
Yeah, I'm a proficient guitarist.
A bit of a virtuoso?
A bit, yeah.
Really?
A bit, yeah.
Okay. Can you do like classical?
I can do anything.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you do that? Have you ever seen the movie Ah, crap. Of course I can't think of it. Not Drumline. No. August Rush.
No.
You've never seen August Rush?
No.
Oh my gosh, it's a phenomenal movie. Robin Williams is in it.
I think I've like seen it, like the title, like on not Netflix, but something.
The guy, the kid, August Rush, is in a TV show on ABC now. He's like an autistic doctor.
Oh, The Good Doctor.
The Good Doctor. Is that ABC?
Yeah, that's a pretty good show, actually.
So,
I've only caught a couple episodes ever, but...
So that doctor was the kid in August Rush.
No kidding.
But the thing is like, he was like a homeless kid that was wandering around and was really like just a
Dude,
savant.
I have seen this movie.
At playing the guitar.
I remember that
And he
movie.
he would like slap the strings and play it on his lap,
Yeah,
you know?
slap at the bass.
But the guitar.
Slap at the bass, man.
Yeah, kind of. But
No,
only
I
the
do
guitar.
remember that, and I did see that movie like a while ago.
Oh yeah, it's an older movie. I mean, mid 2000s.
Yeah.
You know, but it's really good. But are you like a savant like that?
No, I'm not a savant, but I'm proficient enough to be able to grab a guitar at any time and make people think that I'm a lot better than I am.
Oh, well, that's all you really need to do.
Like I can
isn't it?
play, and any like if you name a song, I can pretty much if I look up the tabulature,
Gangster's Paradise.
I can pretty
Coolio.
much play that song.
Here's a question: do drummers pay attention to music at all?
They can. There is certainly sheet music for drumming, but 95 to 99% of drummers probably don't read music.
That's what I was gonna.
I can't read sheet music for guitar.
So how exactly do drummers all drum to music, to any different song?
You just you gotta feel the beat.
But every drummer could be doing something different for that song.
Yeah,
then.
but it all fits in the time signature that you're playing within. So any music you're playing has a time signature.
Right.
So 4/4 time, 4 beats in the specified amount of time based on the tempo.
Uh-huh.
And basically you would lay down your bass and snare or hi-hat, traditionally are your like background time signature. That's what your doom, doom, doom,
Yeah.
doom, 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 doom.
Right.
And then,
But you could do that to any song.
you can, and then the rest is just splashing it up with the breaks. So if you're playing on 4/4 time, the space between those 4 notes, the 8th notes and the 16th notes, you can kind of fill with whatever you want as long as it's on rhythm.
Really?
Yeah.
It just seems like there's so much to that.
And most of it for drummers, is just intuitive. So if you feel that, if you can, you're driving the rhythm as a drummer,
Right.
first off. So as long as you stay within that time signature, you can kind of embellish as much as you want, as much as your skill allows you to, like, for example, hit a bunch of 16th notes and get right back on to
Yeah.
the 4/4 time signature. So where you start to hear bad drummers is when, and it's really evident
When you're not
you-
back in rhythm.
when you're off rhythm.
Yeah.
And it's easy to do that in drum because you might want to do something, but you might not be quick enough to make it happen in the allotted amount of time.
Okay.
So, and then a lot of, your flourish is individual creativity or just practice or
But in learning the drums, obviously you have to learn a core, like a core music, right? Like to any song, there has to be a basic music to that for the drummer.
not really. I mean, you can play the same song with like 100 different ways on drums and it's going to sound good because as long as you're within the rhythm and the tempo and the time signature, you can do whatever you want, essentially.
It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
It just seems crazy to me that
I mean, it's no
you could
different
hear
with
the song.
guitar. So, right, when you
Well, it is because there's certain notes that they're playing.
Well,
Like-
yes and no. So, for example, if you're a rhythm guitarist, which I would say it's the easier thing to be than a lead guitarist. So, I'm a pretty serviceable rhythm guitarist. So, on rhythm guitar, you basically have to hit certain chords,
Yes.
and that's the background of your song is a certain chord structure.
Sure.
Now you can if there's chords that are adjacent to those, that you can transition through those chords and add a little bit of depth to the music, but it isn't really going to change the core chord structure. Then there's lead guitar. So in lead guitar, whatever your key is that you're playing within, whatever key those sequence of chords fall into, there's scales on the guitar that are within that, in that same key. So you can jump around just like the drummer, and you can play through any of that, any of those notes in any order or any speed, as long as you're on tempo. So if you're on tempo and you're on rhythm, you can fly through a bunch of different notes that are in the same scale, at a 16th pace.
But I feel
as
like
long
this
as you
is,
make it back to where you need to be.
But I feel like this is in creation of a song.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. You can do it in an existing song structure easily, and it just adds maybe a different dynamic to it, but it won't actually change the bass structure of the song at all, because that is set by your rhythm guitarist, or most times your bass guitarist, who's actually providing the actual chord structure of the song through bass. So there's lots of different ways to do it, but sometimes you can, even if you have the drummer going and you have a bass guitar providing the background chord structure, you can actually, your rhythm guitarist can riff off that, and your lead guitarist can riff off that. And you can still sound, the song can still be recognizable, but everybody's adding different flavors and layers to it.
Yeah. Gosh.
It's pretty interesting when you get down to it, because in a lot of
It really
songs,
is.
the melody is created by the vocalist. So,
Really?
Yeah. Most of the time, the melody of the song is in the lyrics, or not in the lyrics, but in the vocal melody. That's the actual recognizable part of the song to most people, is the melody of the singer's voice. The chord structure behind it, you don't tend to notice that much. But once you play that chord structure, for example, most songs fall within very similar chord structures.
Yes.
There's only so many chords. But there's probably 20 different songs that have the exact same chords, right? And what differentiates those songs would purely be tempo, rhythm, and the vocal melody.
How'd you learn so much about music?
I'm a natural to it.
Yeah, but you had to have learned it somehow.
You just learn by practice.
I should have done that. I've always wanted to be a
I've been
musician.
playing guitar since I was in 8th grade.
Yeah.
I have not. And before that, I played trumpet and stuff, but
I was a trumpeter as well.
But
that I followed notes.
Correct. And I never did that with guitar. I don't know any notes. I can read a tabulature, which is a visual representation of the strings you need to pluck in what order if you're doing fingerstyle.
And that's what my brother did to learn guitar. Like, he just played tabs all the time, and then he started learning on his own.
Yeah, but most tabulatures are just the chords.
Yeah.
Bam, 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 bam. These are the chords you got to play in this sequence. And then,
but that is a good way to learn.
If you with the tab, if you came across a song that you've never heard before, you would not be able to recreate that song.
It'd be very hard to do, yeah.
Right, because you have to know kind of the strumming pattern and when to end one chord and start another chord.
Yeah.
So that's the problem with a tablature. That's why it's not sheet music. Now with sheet music, if you can read it,
you can play it.
You should be able to play it, and it should sound exactly like that song every time it's handed to you.
Right.
But I don't think there's a lot of people out there that can read sheet music for guitar.
No?
No.
I mean, unless you went to school
you'd have to go to
music.
school for it, honestly. I mean, it's just like reading, you have to, there's different methods to anything, like even piano. Most children are taught to read sheet music when they learn piano. Most of the research suggests that's probably not the best way to learn it. The best way to learn it's called the Suzuki method.
Really? Suzuki, huh?
Yeah. And
they had a Suzuki Ninja, was it? It used to flip over all the time. Terrible vehicle.
So Marley's been wanting to get cash piano lessons, but I'm a stickler because I'm like, he's only doing piano lessons if I can find a Suzuki method teacher, and there's the only one around here is in Seneca.
We had one that we went to for Grady. She was right in Mazan, and then she moved to Seneca, and then
I think that's the lady.
Oh no, she moved.
Oh,
she's gone. This would have been when Grady was in kindergarten, so it was 2 years ago now. He went and was doing really well with piano. I was kind of excited about it because I wanted him to learn music. And And then we dropped him off one day for piano lessons, and she's like, "Oh, by the way, this is his last lesson because I'm moving to Wisconsin."
Oh.
Oh.
Was
Okay.
it the Suzuki method?
I don't know what that is.
Okay.
What is that method?
It's learning basically. I mean, there's more to it, but let's just shortcut it by saying it's learning to play by ear rather than play by sheet music.
Oh, no, that was not what it was. She had music.
The great thing about like Suzuki method,
there might be another piano teacher in Seneca right now.
It's a lot of the same way people generally learn guitar, to where the idea behind it is if you're an adult, somebody says a song, you can literally just start playing it.
Yeah.
You don't need to have sheet music in front of you because you're playing by ear, by chord,
Right.
Stuff like that.
My ears are out of tune.
Your ears deceive you.
Very much so. So I would be completely out of tune.
Some people just inherently are musically talented and some people aren't.
Right. And then there's some people that aren't, that want to be.
And they can
And
overcome that.
Destroys your well-being on the inside.
But you can overcome
Feel
that
bad.
with a lot of practice.
Right. If I would put time into it. I wanted to buy a ukulele one time. I was like all into this. I was like, I'm buying a ukulele. I'm going to learn this. It looks so easy. And then Amy talked me down from that because I get like really into things.
It's not very hard.
No, I know. But she was right in the fact that she said, you're going to buy this and you're going to put about maybe a month into this thing and then never probably touch it again.
Yeah.
I was like, you got me there. That's probably exactly what's going to happen. So I didn't buy one. But it's not that big of a deal. I'd much rather learn the drums. I would love to learn the drums,
I
but
used
that's
to
not
have a drum
something.
set.
That's not something I'm going to bring in my house.
I used to have a drum set, and I gave it to Snarf Talk listener, Ian Hicks.
Really?
Yeah, and then he sold it.
Good for him. Good for him. That's capitalism.
I don't know
right
if he
there.
sold it or gave it away. I'm just joking.
That's funny.
It was a really bad drum set, but I got it for free, actually. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, it used to be in my living room of my old house.
Really? Right in the living room, huh?
Yeah, I played it all the time.
Did you really?
Yeah, usually with groups of people after a Kinsman bar.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, that makes much more sense. That's funny.
But I had some other friends some friends, Whitey. I don't know if you know Whitey.
I do.
I guess.
Yeah.
We used to hang out, and he's also, into music. So we'd go to the bar, and we'd come back to my house, and we'd jam.
Nice.
But it usually ended up in a lot of stumbling around. Usually the drum set ended up getting knocked all over the house.
It was like it was your original Snarfioki,
Yeah.
but better probably.
Oh, it was
because
pretty
you
good.
had music or you had like actual instruments
Yeah.
involved. We do not use instruments in our Snarfiokis.
No, we're going to. That's my plan.
We should.
It really is. But,
know.
I just haven't. I need a formalized recording studio to have all that stuff
we
available at all times.
We don't have that
No, but we will
at some point.
soon.
Yeah, very soon.
Within a month.
Within a month, you think we're going to have a
the
workable studio
By the end of February, if you can find us a table or build us one.
by the end of February? Okay, that gives me a time frame. There's a lot of tables on Facebook.
I
but
found
just
a
haven't pulled
great
the trigger.
table in Morris that is 6x4. Perfect. Is just what we need. But the lady wants $450.
It's just people are really proud of their tables.
And
you know?
and it says right in the end, it could use a coat of paint. You want $450
Really?
and it needs a coat of paint?
And then you want me to spend like $50 on paint?
No. So I told her I'd give her $150.
And she never responded
She
to you.
said 400, and I said 150.
Oh my gosh. Well, she doesn't like you.
I haven't heard back from her yet. I
Yeah.
said I don't need the chairs. You can sell them separately.
Right. And make up your $450.
Bam! I'm like, it's got to be like $50 a chair. There's 6 chairs.
Easily. That's what I've noticed is people are very proud of their tables. Like this table is beyond any other table you've ever seen in your life. And I need $600 for this. And I just don't think that's right.
No.
I mean, that's expensive for just a table.
Yeah.
And we really don't need anything super fancy.
No, that's our problem. We just need like a shitty table.
Right. Which I found tables that are kind of like shitty, but they just weren't the right size is the problem.
Yeah,
it's like a 6x4 would be perfect for us. But,
I agree.
so there's been some news, and this has happened a few weeks ago now. Sad news of Kobe Bryant's death.
Oh yeah.
I didn't really want to talk about just his death. I wanted to talk about like how it's been reported and discussed in the news. Okay. because I feel like this has been talked about differently than any other celebrity's death. And the reason I say that is because I've seen so much and heard so much, like, because I listen to 670 The Score. It's a talk radio station out of Chicago in our area, and they've been doing it. Other news organizations like the big three news organizations and online people I know on Facebook have been posting things about quit talking about Kobe and pay attention to the other people that were in the helicopter.
Yeah, I find that kind of annoying. It
So,
annoys me.
yeah, I wanted to get your take on this because I felt like so many people do talk about Kobe, and I understand that you don't want to overshadow someone else's death, especially his daughter, the other young lady that was in the helicopter, her parents, another coach. Like, there were the pilot himself. We all understand that there are other people that died in this.
And did you know it was
wreck.
The helicopter was the state of Illinois
Previously
helicopter?
owned by state of Illinois. Yeah. Yeah,
That's
I did know
crazy.
that. But here's the thing that I wanted to talk about is that, like, we know that those people died. We obviously, that's a very tragic event for all of them. But what I had commented on a guy I was in the military with on his post on Facebook, and he said he put a really like snobby thing up about nobody paying attention to them. And I said,
A
well,
lot
listen,
of people have.
I know.
It's like, it's crazy you're even bringing this up because Marley brought this up to me last night. She said, this is driving me crazy. And it's like, it's really, I don't know. I don't remember exactly what she said, and I totally agree with her that, like, I get it. Like, all these people, like, think they're like,
it doesn't.
I don't know why they're bringing it up. Like,
I don't either.
It doesn't make anything. They're like, oh, other people died. And I'm like, yeah.
Yes. Here's the thing. So the difference with this, though, and the way any human just will innately think is that we have all formed a connection with this man, regardless if you've enjoyed him in basketball or any of it. He's been put on TV, and you, like, subconsciously have a connection to somebody because you know their name, you know they played basketball, you know whatever it is they've done. You formed that small connection in your brain, so you feel like you know who he was because he was in the limelight.
I'm gonna be honest, like, I'm not a huge basketball guy, and I've never been a huge Kobe fan or anything, but, like, I was, like, really, like
yeah, it was
I felt
super sad.
awful, like,
yeah,
all day.
I did as well. I was coming through.
It just was so shocking, and like, especially since, like, I've seen him a lot of stuff since. I know he was doing some, like, amazing things.
Yeah,
like,
big time for the women's NBA and the WNBA
and for children's basketball, and, like, he was making documentaries. He just won an Academy Award.
He did, yeah, for a short film.
Like, I guess, like, I never saw that, but I guess it was, like, really moving, and it was talking about, like, his life coming up, and it just seems like he was doing some amazing things, and that's not why I was bummed out. I don't know why. It really, like, affected me.
So that was the point I was going to make, is that regardless of your stance on basketball or Kobe Bryant, we've known him in the, like, celebrity world or on our TVs for a long time.
My whole life.
Since he was 17 years old, and he's 41 now. So
right.
Yeah, our entire lives. So you have this connection, regardless of what you think, to him, no matter what. So wouldn't you automatically say, like, Kobe Bryant died in his helicopter before you would say anybody else?
Well, and I guess my whole thing is, like, I don't understand what you're trying. I saw a lot of those posts that are like, why are you talking about Kobe? There's these other people, like, don't talk about him because he's some celebrity. We talk about these other people. And then I saw some posts that are like, well, this soldier died in Afghanistan. Nobody's talking about that. I'm like, none of these things have to do with each other.
They don't tie into each other.
Like, I get the people that were in that plane. Like, I get how that ties in. But just because you're not talking about them and you are talking about the fact that you were affected, but for whatever reason, by Kobe dying, doesn't mean you're taking anything away from them. And you don't have to.
And it got as ridiculous as people posting things on social media of a plane crashing, killing 30 U.S. military members and one, like, U.S. civilian that was on the plane with them. They were talking about this plane that crashed, killed 30 people in Afghanistan, and nobody's talking about this, right? Well, if you click on the article, it's an article from 2005.
Right.
Why are you posting something from 2005 and trying to relate it to something now?
It's a weird.
I just don't.
It's a weird thing that's going on.
I don't get it. And even on, like I said, I listened to 670 The Score. They brought it up, and they're like, well, we don't. They were really hesitant on even talking about it, and that's what really kind of pissed me off, because this is a sports talk radio show. You 100% should basically only be talking about what Kobe Bryant did in basketball. And yes, talk about his daughter, talk about the other young lady, the basketball coach, the baseball coach that was in California as well, like the pilot, the helicopter, whatever you want to talk about that stuff. But on a sports radio show, I think Kobe Bryant would be the focal point of what you would discuss, because of his impact on the NBA, WNBA, youth basketball, all that stuff. It's okay to talk about, but they were very hesitant to do so because of what has been going on social media and the other news organizations. And I think that's bullcrap. I really do.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then there was a bunch of the whole thing like, oh, I guess everybody just forgot he's a rapist. I'm like, first of all, you don't know.
Wasn't that dropped?
It doesn't matter, because nobody knows anything. You don't pretend like you think you know more than anybody else knows because you saw a news headline once that said something about it. Like, nobody knows anything. I don't care. That's getting into a whole nother thing that I was wanting to talk about in this, which is like redemption. But that doesn't have anything to do with this. Like, the guy was obviously doing some important things, and he had a really bright future, and he was super young.
Yeah.
Not that much older than me, which just blew my mind. And then,
he's my brother's age. Yeah.
And then he, on top of that, his daughter was with him, and obviously I know there are other people with him. I don't know. The whole thing was really, really, really sad.
It is, and his wife's pregnant.
It's awful. And they have another baby, basically.
Yeah, they've got 4 kids, I think, or 3. They have 3, and we're gonna have their 4th.
When it affected me, it wasn't like, it never affected me from like I'm a huge fan of Kobe, I can't believe we lost him. That's how it affected me. I'm like, man, that guy had a family. That guy has little kids. Like, he seems like a family man.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
He absolutely did.
And it's just terrible.
So what they did talk about on The Score was that they said that when he was leaving basketball, he didn't have, and he was on record saying like he had nothing he thought of doing. Like, he didn't think he was going to be involved with basketball much anymore. He didn't really want to be in any.
He's only been to like 2 Lakers games since he retired.
He didn't really want to be involved with like the sports media and stuff. And then he said what they were talking about, what really brought him back into the basketball world was the fact that his daughter got so involved with basketball and wanted to be, wanted to take it more seriously. So he got involved with her travel basketball team. And was doing that as she got older. And then that's what brought him into, he got connected with a head coach of one of the WNBA teams and talked a lot with her. And then he got more connected with the WNBA and started doing a lot with them. That's why they just got a national TV spot to like televise women's basketball nationally. And I think the playoffs, it's the playoffs and the championship are going to be televised nationally now, which they've never been before. So I think he was a part of that they were talking about. And they said that's what really brought him back into basketball again, was his daughter playing basketball and getting involved with women's stuff. And then he started the whole movie stuff that he was doing.
Yeah, he was just doing a lot of production. He was writing children's books. I mean, he was doing amazing stuff. And you think about it, like, he's undoubtedly one of the top 5 greatest basketball players of all time. Sure. One of the greatest athletes of all time. Mm-hmm. Arguably the second best basketball player of all time.
Yes.
That's
that would start an argument.
That would start an argument. Sure. But he's probably top 5.
Who's the first, Chris?
Probably Michael Jordan.
Absolutely.
But then you look at it too. Okay. And I love Michael Jordan. I've loved him my entire life. I have a huge Michael Jordan basketball card collection. I have posters on my wall still in my mom and dad's house.
Yeah.
I cut together all the news articles of Michael Jordan and made collages.
Sure.
But like, what did Michael Jordan do after he left basketball other than like play golf and smoke cigars and gamble?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. He's an owner of a basketball team, but that's...
But like, look what Kobe was doing. Like, it seemed like he was doing some amazing things. Like, what did Michael Jordan do? Like, you don't hear about him being a stellar family man. All you hear about
No, you
is
don't.
like billion-dollar divorces, and
Yep. Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
not
You don't
judging.
really.
I don't know why one thing has to do with the other. I'm doing the same thing that the Facebook is doing. My point is, like, I don't know. All of that goes into when you see that happen, and then you start learning more. That almost was another thing. Like, I didn't know what he was doing lately, and then
I really
you
didn't
watch
either.
the news coverage and you see what he's doing lately, and you're like,
Oh,
man,
wow.
what would he have done in the next 20 years? You know,
Right.
What could he have done? Some probably amazing stuff.
It's pretty unbelievable. I just thought it was a topic that we should discuss because I just think it's terrible that people do that. I mean, I don't think those other people that were in the plane or in the helicopter will be overshadowed.
No.
You know, by
Guess what?
who-
I don't
by the people that it counts.
Do
you
they
know,
even
like,
want to be in the spotlight?
exactly?
The point of it all is the motivation for saying those things isn't to benefit those people.
No.
It's the motivation to say those things is to be a detriment towards either a media organization or Kobe.
Or Kobe, yeah.
So it's
Or like celebrities in general, like it's
like you're saying something, acting like you're trying to be positive, but you know it's so clear to see that you're just being negative.
right. Yes, exactly, and that's what I felt like when I read the very first post of this guy that I was again in the military with. He posted it, and I was just like, and he even posted a screenshot of him Google searching. It was like, you know, how many people died or who died in Kobe Bryant's helicopter. And it says Kobe Bryant died in his personal helicopter crash along with 8 other individuals or 9 other individuals, whatever it was. And he posted that and he's like, wow, great job, Google. Can't even put their names up. Well, how do you know the families even released their names or would want their names released?
What's the point of making the post in the first place?
I know.
Why do you feel compelled to make a post at all? That's what blows my mind.
I
Why
don't
would
know.
anybody be compelled to make any post other than like, wow, I'm really shocked.
This is shocking. Yes, like this was a shocking tragedy.
Yeah.
And honestly, I believe it's the fact that that's the way. Like if he died of natural causes or had a heart attack, it would never have been reported this way. It's because it was a tragedy and
First
other
of all,
people were
helicopter and airplane crashes are horrendously shocking whenever they happen.
involved. Yeah, something's falling out of the sky.
And it's just so abrupt, you know?
You know, yeah.
And so that has a lot to do with it. And, you know, I guess there's what they're trying to say is like, wow, this is being oversaturated in our faces. But it's helicopter and airplane crashes are shocking.
Yes.
I was telling Marley the other day, I'm like, this is going to be, we were watching coverage on the news. I'm like, this is going to be one of those things that we're going to hear about the rest of our lives.
Probably. It probably will be. You know, yeah, people will relate this to a lot of things.
Like
and I think
Stevie Ray Vaughan, you hear about that still to this day.
Yep.
You know,
my uncle was at his last concert when he flew away.
oh my gosh, so was my brother-in-law.
Really?
Yeah.
Jamie?
Yeah.
I didn't know
At
that.
Alpine Valley?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My Uncle Jim was there.
That's crazy.
That is weird. Yeah, I just think it's nuts. That's all I wanted to talk about with that. It is a tragedy that he died.
It's always weird to me that like helicopter or airplane crashes are unbelievably rare. But
They really
always
are.
happen to celebrities. I don't know why.
Well, I think they're
Didn't
just
John
reported.
Denver die in a plane crash?
John Denver is full of shit. Yes, I believe so.
It's crazy.
That was a quote from Dumb and Dumber. I don't know if anybody caught it. If you did, congratulations. Thank you.
Yeah, he aircraft plane crash.
Huh.
Anyway,
So next news, much lighter note, is that Marvel finally gave Captain Marvel 2 its official go. Like it's officially set to
Okay.
film and go.
big surprise there.
Yeah, it's not a surprise whatsoever. And I posted a little thing. The Nerdist had something about it, and I posted it on our social media. And, you know, hopefully the script is better. Hopefully,
I think it could be good. It has the potential to be good.
I absolutely
sure.
think the second one will overshadow the first.
There's no doubt because the first one's an origin, and
Yes.
origins are always whatever.
Yes, this origin was slow. In the comic books, Captain Marvel is making huge waves right now.
It is. I did not know that.
Yeah, big time. She's killing off the Avengers because she's been taken over by something. I can't remember what it was called now. But she's been taken over by something, and her power is like immense, and she's killed Iron Man, Thor, and there is the article that I was reading is that one specific Avenger or Marvel's character is going to stop her or is in the process of stopping her.
Who's it going to be?
You want to know?
Yeah.
She-Hulk.
Oh, She-Hulk's the best.
Yeah. So they were talking about like who's the most powerful in the MCU right now. It's She-Hulk. Because she's apparently got celestial capabilities now.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and apparently she's incredibly
Thought she was just
strong.
a lawyer.
She's still a lawyer, but she's been embodied by celestial powers.
Awesome.
And she's apparently, and in the comic, like Captain Marvel says, like she's like, oh no, not now, because She-Hulk comes and like gets in her way, and she says like, not now, I'm not ready for this yet, saying like, this bitch is gonna kick my ass, you know, and that's what's gonna happen. So I think that's pretty neat.
This bitch gonna Hulk out.
She's gonna Hulk out, and she does. She hulks out and is gonna kick her butt. That's all on Captain Marvel front. I saw a preview trailer for the second season of what?
Do you know? No.
You don't know?
No.
The Boys.
The Boys. Oh, I didn't see it with a trailer.
There's one out for the second season, and it looks very interesting. I loved the first season of The Boys, but again, I think this second season will overshadow the first.
I liked it a lot too, story-wise. I don't think I was as crazy about it as a lot of people were, because there was a little bit of things to pick apart at it. But overall...
Yeah, there is things to pick apart, for sure.
Overall, story-wise, it's super solid. Character development is great.
What I loved about it is the fact that it's
different, too.
It's a different superhero take.
Yeah.
It's a very gritty, realistic style. I mean, if as real as you could get with superheroes and superpowers and people flying around and lasers shooting out eyes. The realistic style of it is the gore, the blood, like what happens when somebody gets cut in half by laser eyes,
right,
and that kind of stuff. You never see that, you know. It's relatively mild on what happens to people from superheroes because they're weapons. They are a floating weapon or a walking weapon, and I think that take is really cool. This season, in this trailer, it shows Homelander with his son. So he has a son, spoilers, at the end of the first season, and it shows his son a little bit older and him basically being a father to this son. And the reason for that is because he was like kept basically in a cell and created by two different doctors, and those doctors literally kept him in a cell. He never got to go outside. He didn't get to do anything. He didn't really get raised. So he wants to be an active father to this kid's life. But you can clearly see that
absolute sociopath. So
you can clearly see he's raising him to be crazy, because it's an intense first trailer. I tell you what, they just show you, I think they show you basically every action scene from this next season, because it's like so many things are going on. It looks just as gory and bloody as the first.
I'm sure.
It looks pretty cool
to
me. I'm very excited for it.
It's one of those shows that like, I think episode to episode there was a little bit of drag to it, but like in hindsight, like thinking back over it, I enjoyed it more. And
I like the main character, the guy,
Dennis Quaid's son.
That's who it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's his name?
Dennis Quaid Jr.
Dylan Quaid.
Is that his real name?
No, I made that up. But
Randy Quaid.
It is. I believe that's his uncle.
Do you think they're related?
They are, aren't they?
I don't know.
No, they're brothers.
Huh.
Randy Quaid and Dennis Quaid are absolutely brothers.
How do you know that?
Well, because they have the same last name.
How do you spell Quaid?
Well, Quaid.
Okay, I'll look it up.
Q's and U's go together in the English language. Did you know that?
And I did
To make the
I'm quite surprised by
sound.
that. Dennis Quaid is the younger brother of veteran actor Randy Quaid.
Told you.
Man, I used
Shitter's full.
I used to love Dennis Quaid. He's one of my favorite actors.
He was very good.
And I was so like taken aback that he didn't get more awesome stuff like back in the day. Now he's too old, but like I've loved that movie Inner Space for stuff. That's a great movie. Have you ever seen that? They shrink down and go inside a human body.
I don't think I have.
I always thought he could be like the next Indiana Jones.
I agree.
But
I think he
anymore.
could.
Now he's too old.
Here's been an unpopular opinion of mine, which is nothing new because most of my opinions are unpopular to the general public. And you seem to go by the ways of the general public just to be liked. Me, on the other hand, I carve my own path, Chris.
Okay.
I do my own thing.
That's why you like everything.
That's why I like him as Doc Holliday better than I did Val Kilmer.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's wrong.
So, see, that's what I'm saying. He transformed his whole body to look different. Most people don't even realize Dennis Quaid was Doc Holliday in a movie because he does not look like himself. And he has some of the best lines I've ever heard in any movie as Doc Holliday. It's amazing. People need to look it up. It was in the movie Wyatt Earp. That was also a huge deal if you listen to earlier podcasts because I like Wyatt Earp better than Tombstone, and people can fight me over it. I don't care. Also because I love Kevin Costner, and Kevin Costner is a phenomenal actor, and I think he's a better Wyatt Earp than Kirk Douglas.
Okay. Well,
so stick that in your pipe.
All I can say about Dennis Quaid is you need to watch the movie Inner Space from 1987 because it's amazing. And I'm trying to find like other great movies that I liked of his, but I can't really find a lot of them. I mean, Dragonheart, that was pretty good.
Dragonheart's a good movie.
Yeah.
If you go, I recently...
Any Given Sunday?
Recently, and I mean like within the last 2 years, saw Dragonheart on TV and watched it. Game of Thrones has ruined dragons.
Yeah.
Forever.
They look terrible, don't they?
They are so bad because Sean Connery is the voice of that dragon.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
And I thought, when I first saw that movie, I thought it was like the coolest thing ever. And going back and watching it again, I was like, ooh, this dragon is not good. Like, it is hard to watch.
Yeah.
But the movie overall is good. The dragon's just terrible. And even the dragon in The Witcher, like, come on.
Oh, that's bad.
Come on. You spent this money, all this money, get the people that know how to make dragons and do half as good as what the other dragons were. They don't need to look like
Matthew McConaughey movie good.
Yeah. Like Reign of Fire Dragon.
Yeah.
That's a good movie too. And if you get onto our Patreon, patreon.com/snarfcomics, you can listen to our top 5 or our 5 honorable mentions of fantasy movies.
Yeah.
Maybe that's one of them.
Guys, we got a lot of great Patreon stuff. And also we got a new sticker coming that was custom designed for us by tattoo artist and artist in general.
And veteran.
Former Jerry's...
Yeah, he was our convoy commander. Yeah, he was a staff sergeant at the time.
Basil
Beatles.
He drew really cool... It almost to me looks like a tattoo design.
It is. It looks like it, yeah.
So we made it into a sticker.
And we're
going to have them.
And we both said that like we've made a Snarf Talk pact to get it tattooed on our face.
I don't know about that. I wasn't aware of that pact.
Oh, no?
I don't have any tattoos. I've always wanted a tattoo, but I've never...
I've got 3.
I've never been able to find anything that like I felt... Like I always wanted to get a Star Wars tattoo, but I can never think of what would it be. Like, it'd have to be something that I absolutely, like, I know.
Probably a rebel symbol.
That's the only thing I can think of.
A lot of people get those.
Yeah, and then I'm like, well, that's pretty boring. I always wanted to get a phoenix on my back.
If we're talking, this isn't about tattoos, but it is about Star Wars real quick. And I got to give a shout out to one of our patrons, Sean Johnson, who also has Johnson Farms Trucking.
Yeah, they'll haul your house.
He's a sponsor of the show. He got me a shirt. And I haven't got it yet, but he has the shirt. He's sending it to me, but he showed it to me. And it's the single coolest shirt I've ever seen in my life. It's the coolest shirt that I've ever received as a gift for sure. It is so. Metallica has been like one of my favorite bands forever. I've always really loved Metallica. They give me fuel, they give me fire, they give me like all that I could ever desire. And so it's Metallica's Master of Puppets album cover, the same style as that anyways. But it has Yoda standing in there as the puppet master over top of it. And it is...
Who's the puppet?
No, the Graves.
Oh, I got
So if you look at Master of Puppets album, there's like gravestones coming up, and then there's literally a hand holding like a marionette thing on Metallica's cover. But instead, this one has literally Yoda standing over controlling him.
Who's on the grave?
It's so cool. Nobody. I don't know.
Like, are they headstones?
I couldn't zoom in close enough to read it, but plus it was on his little baby child because he got him one too. He was wearing like a onesie of this.
Sweet.
And he said, your shirt is the same thing. And it looks amazing. It's very good.
Well, that's also design we're also making some T-shirts out of. So that will be cool as well.
Yes, we've got new shirts. We also have a website that new shirts are going to be on that you could buy shirts at any point in time. It's called Teespring. You can go to teespring.com/stores/snarfcomics. Really kind of annoying. But I'll put up links to that. You'll be able to get all sorts of different T-shirt designs that we are going to curate and make. There is one up right now, which is basically our original sticker. If you guys have seen our original sticker, that's what the T-shirt design is. But there's going to be multiple things. We might have iPhone cases, Samsung cases, beanies, bags, pillowcase. You want a pillowcase? Because we can create it, and you can have one.
If you have any ideas too for T-shirts, let us know. If you have an idea, we can make it and throw it up there. It should be something podcast related.
Yes, please.
Either something we've discussed on the podcast, or it could be anything you want really. And just make sure you thoroughly write out what you think it should be, or you can even sketch it up if you want.
Yes.
I think this spring we're going to have a T-shirt creation contest. And
that's a good idea.
The winner of the contest will get the T-shirt and like a $50 gift card to Amazon.
I like that. That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Copyright Snarf Talk.
So, all right. Enough of that, but I got some more news. Do you got more?
No, that was my last news thing was the Boys trailer.
I got one bit of news. There is somebody over in Lucasfilm who's on the hot seat right now.
Really?
And it's a change that I've been asking for years now.
Kathleen Kennedy?
Kathleen Kennedy. She's on the hot seat.
Is she out?
She she has a contract, I believe, until 2021.
I mean, but do they have to abide by that? You know?
I don't know. She's currently the president. She's obviously one of the most successful producers of all time. She produced like the Indiana Jones movies and a bunch of movies. I think she did E.T.
Yeah. She's been involved
with all the Star Wars movies.
That's what I thought was crazy is how long she's been involved with like Spielberg movies and huge movies that have come out. She's been around a while. She has to be at least 98 years old.
She's not that old, but she's been an amazing talent in the industry, but she's definitely in the hot seat right now, and there's a possibility she might lose her job, and I think it's a necessary change. I've been asking for it for a while now. But a lot of people aren't happy with the direction those new movies took, even though they made billions and billions of dollars. A lot of people are just baffled by the fact that they didn't have it pre-planned before they started making the movies. They didn't have it all planned out, what they were going to do.
Yeah, I think that is absolutely ridiculous.
They didn't go with a singular director and writer to produce it from top to bottom. A lot of people are upset, that they didn't drive the story franchise forward. They drove it back to nostalgia versus driving it forward. And there's just a lot out there now where you see, George Lucas's vision, which they've used some of the stuff, definitely.
Yeah.
But his vision was radically different. And then even Colin Trevorrow's script ended the franchise in Rise of Skywalker. And basically, like one of the major changes, a lot was the same, but one of the major changes is the end of the movie was set 10 years in the future. And it kind of put a button on the whole, bow
Yeah.
on the whole thing, and wrapped
Yeah.
it up, and it said,
Put a
"Hey,
little button on it.
here's the new Jedi Order. Here's the new Republic. Here's what's going on now."
That's what we needed.
And
I do think we needed something like that. Because
And
where do they go after this?
and the idea that George Lucas had was like the whole thing was like C-3PO and R2-D2 were the only ones that were in every movie, and they were kind of the living historians
Yes.
of the Skywalker
Yeah.
saga. But his vision also went deep, and we've talked about this before, but he had a whole thing about the wills.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of went into this in Rogue One a little bit. But his journey brought the Force down to the microscopic level.
It did. Midichlorians.
Of the midichlorians and how they affect the living things, and how the Force attenuates and focuses itself in living beings, and how the wills are involved in that. It was an interesting concept, but it's not hard to see why it didn't happen.
Right. Not very many people were a fan of that at the time.
So she's a bit on the hot seat because of a lot of issues. And then there was a big snafu over the Obi-Wan Disney Plus show.
Yeah. I posted a thing about this, and then you posted right back, because apparently it was very quick to turn around and say, no, it's not held
Well,
up.
Kathleen Kennedy was the one that came out, and she said basically like,
We're holding
the
it
show's done, more or less.
Yeah.
It's stalled out. It's
Yes.
done. Creative differences. It's trash, basically, is what it made it sound like. And shortly thereafter, not just Ewan McGregor, but a bunch of the people involved
So that's bullcrap.
said, no, that's not. They're going to rewrite some stuff,
That's it.
basically. And they pushed shooting for 6 months or whatever they did.
Right, because that's what I read, the Ewan McGregor quote, and he's like, all of this creative difference bullshit, he's like, is not true. He's like, that's not what it is. It's a phenomenal show. I love what we've shot already.
And stuff gets rewritten all the time.
Absolutely.
Stuff gets rewritten.
Look at Justice League.
Yeah.
It rewrote that
It's
whole
not
thing.
a great example.
No, I mean, but it happens and gets put out still.
Anyway, if her contract ends in 2021, I think it's time to move on. And
I completely agree.
if you're not ready, willing, and able to do what it takes to get Kevin Feige to take that job, then I think there's some issues there.
You think Kevin Feige will be in that position? I mean, he's already in charge of Star Wars, isn't he? Or in charge of the next set of Star Wars movies?
I think he has been tapped as a creative on either a Star Wars movie or a Star Wars trilogy or something along
That's
those lines.
what I thought.
But, if essentially he would be serving for Lucasfilm the role he's been serving for Marvel.
Man,
And-
what do you think this dude could do with that?
And frankly, I'm sure he's ready to move on from Marvel. But maybe he's not. But he should.
I mean, I think he would be. He told his
What I think
story.
you should do
He
is you
told
should
his
take
story.
the Russo brothers, who made a bunch of those movies. They made Civil War. They made Infinity War. They made Endgame. They made all those. And
Yes.
a bunch of other ones. And I would take them and be like, okay, now it's your turn.
What you got?
Yeah.
What up, bros?
But, I get it. You got to, I think what you need to do is it's time to move in a new direction for Star Wars. And they got the perfect time to do it. Oh, another big issue Disney has is that nothing is really in the works. Like,
Really? They don't have anything in the chain right now down the pipe that
is being filmed. Nothing is being announced. Nothing is close. And there's just like no vision.
that's weird.
Now they're doing
Isn't
a
that
bunch
weird?
of Disney Plus stuff.
Which I think is set up for the.
But there's no vision for the
Bigger-
movie franchise, and it's just
Well, I mean, they've got like Scarlet Witch and Vision, but then they have Black Widow coming out. This is all Disney stuff.
I know. I'm talking about Star Wars, though.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just talking about Disney. I
No,
was
there's tons of Marvel stuff coming out. No, I'm talking about Star Wars. There's no.
oh yeah, there's nothing.
There's nothing
for Star Wars.
really. It seems to be like it's being mismanaged
Obi-Wan and
for a flagship property. I mean, it's the biggest property
it's huge.
for Disney right now, I believe. Well, I don't know. I mean, Marvel, that's debatable, but I would say
Obi-Wan and The
It's a-
Mandalorian are the only two that they have on tap for Disney Plus, right? And then
Clone Wars.
Clone Wars, yeah.
I'm not sure what else there is, but it's not enough. Whatever it is,
right.
You
No,
know,
I
when
completely
Marvel's
agree.
sitting here announcing movies out to 2026.
All the time.
I
I mean, shoot,
why wouldn't
even
they be
DC has more
producing-
movies on the slate than what Disney does right now.
And I
for
understand
Star Wars.
Star Wars it's not the same as Marvel. It's hard to oversaturate Marvel because they're all so different, the characters and the stories and the movies. When Star Wars,
there's just so much content there already that you can pull from. I mean, it's constant material.
And there's a lot of Star Wars material too in the expanded universe. But my thing is,
but it's not to the point of Marvel.
I think you could come out with a Star Wars movie every year. I don't think you need to, but I think you could. I would definitely want them to.
I would not complain,
but they're not going to be successful as the Marvel movies. But that's fine. Here's what they need to do: they need to stop. Not everyone needs to be a $300 million movie.
Correct. And we've said that for a long time, just like when we were talking about how before Joker came out, when we were first talking about Joker going to be made and how it was going to be made and how it was going to be a smaller budget indie type movie, I was 100% on board with that. And I was talking about, and you were too, before you completely trashed the whole thing and said that, it shouldn't have never been made and you don't like any of it. Before you did all of that,
they could have made a better movie. That's all.
I've 100% think they should do that with a Batman movie and make it way lower budget, make it more of a detective type film. You don't have to have the big flashy fight scenes, and you don't have to have him like flying around in a jet. You don't have to have all these big things. Like, make it smaller, make it more like gritty Batman on the street type stuff, and I think you will sell the crap out of it.
Like, what would happen if you could have made the Joker movie, right? But instead of 2 hours, which was painfully longer than it needed to be.
It was long.
Made a 30-minute Joker movie.
30 minutes.
A 30-minute Batman movie, back to back. And then the second hour was them together.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I just don't think you could pull together the story well enough, though.
Oh, you just got to figure it out.
Yeah, it's possible. I think it's a good idea.
I just still maintain that Joker story could have been told in, 15 to 30 minutes, and it could have been part of another movie.
You're just not artsy enough. You're not meta enough,
I guess.
To understand it.
I guess. Sounds about right.
So, actually, I have some more news that just sparked in my head that So principal photography for a little movie called Dune is done.
Yes.
They finished all of the principal photography.
Comes out this year, right? In November?
November of this year, yes. And that's done. They're doing all of the edits and, CGI, everything like that for the movie right now. But they put out a 20 or 30-minute clip to selected individuals in the business.
I want that clip.
And there's no CGI or anything. It's just all raw footage. And there is a fantasy author out of Canada. I don't remember his name offhand because I don't have the article in front of me. I apologize. But he went to this screening and saw the 30 minutes and went wild on Twitter over it. And apparently I don't think he's being sued or anything, but Twitter immediately took down all of his tweets, and he's been getting a talking to because they weren't supposed to speak about this.
What did he say? It was great.
So yes, he put up that he was so excited to see what the rest of this film would be because it seems like an epic fantasy tale that is on par with the way Lord of the Rings was when it first came out. He said, I don't see it being any smaller than that or any more groundbreaking in what films we've seen in the last 20 years.
Wow.
And he was like just going off about this. And he said they've finally created a Dune movie that will stand up to what the book is and will have your imagination like reeling. And he's like, and I can't wait to see the finished product once CGI is added. He's like, because it's just going to blow our minds. And that has me real excited.
Well, that's all I care about for the next 9 months.
I know. That's all as soon as I saw this report, I was like, well, I can't not think about this movie for the next 8 months. Yeah. And I'm really excited about it. I liked the first movie. You've seen that, right?
Yeah. The David Bowie movie, or
not David Bowie, but, I can't think of it now either because I can never think of anything.
Wait, wasn't David Bowie in it?
No, I don't think he was ever in that.
I don't
It's
remember.
look it up. But anyway, it's like an 80 some movie, 1980 something.
Yeah, it's all right. It's just
I think
not,
it's fun.
I liked the series that I think it was on
See,
Sci-Fi.
and that's what I've never seen, and I've heard the series was more.
David Lynch was
David
the director
Lynch,
and
yes.
writer of the Dune movie. David Lynch, not David Bowie.
Close. You were close. But I've never seen the series, and I've heard it was better than what the movie was and closer to what the books
Definitely.
were.
Definitely.
And you know what I've never done either is read any further than the first book, which I desperately want to do.
I have read...
Because Frank Herbert wrote 4 books, right? And then his son took over and wrote like 4 more
No.
or 3 more.
I thought Frank Herbert only wrote
3.
2 books.
I know it's more than 2.
Well,
Because
I
then
don't
his
remember.
son,
His son definitely wrote some. I read a
maybe he did only write 2.
bunch of them, but I can't remember.
You did read a bunch of them?
Yeah, I read a bunch of them. I know I read the one his son wrote.
See, and I had always heard that the series kind of really dropped off once his sons took over.
I mean, I liked every one of them I read. I just don't really remember a lot of other than like the first 2.
After reading that book,
Or they kind of all blend together too, because
and this is another thing that you took me under your wing,
I bestowed upon you.
and you did. You bestowed upon me the Dune franchise and gave me the book, and you're like, listen, son, this is a large book. You may not be capable of reading all of this book, but I need you to try.
Difficult book to read.
You're like, I need you to try, as you were like stroking my hair back, and I was like, all right, surrogate father, I'll try for you. And I did. I read it all, and it's amazing. I loved it. And I like desperately want to read more, and I never have, and I don't know why.
So the original was Dune, and then there was a sequel, Dune Messiah. I don't remember that one.
Yeah, then Children of
Dune I've definitely read.
You don't remember Dune Messiah, and it's the second one?
Children of Dune became the first hardcover bestseller ever in the science fiction field.
Oof.
So
That's serious.
there were those.
And those are all 3 by Frank Herbert.
Those were by Frank Herbert. In 1981, he released God, Emperor of Dune. Definitely never read that.
Is that that's the 4th one?
Yes. And then Heretics of Dune. I did not read that either.
5th one?
I think maybe I just read the first 2 or the first 3. I probably read all 3 because that makes sense. And then his son.
So he wrote 5.
Yeah, I guess he wrote 5. And then his son wrote a trilogy of Dune prequel novels that became called the Prelude of the Dune series.
Okay.
One was Dune House Atreides, Dune House of Harkonnen, and Dune House Carino. I didn't read any of those.
That kind of makes sense. That's kind of easy for him to do. You know what I mean? Like, this story's been told. Why not just tell each story about each house before my dad's story took place?
Yeah, and then he wrote 3 more in the early 2000s. I haven't read those either. So there's a bunch more. There's tons more.
I need to get into this Dune
Hunters
world,
of
man.
Dune, Sandworms of Dune, Heroes of Dune, The Throne of Dune.
Sandworms.
It's like
hate
a
'em,
whole.
right?
It's a whole thing, man.
I never understood. I never understood that reference in Beetlejuice until I read the Dune book.
Really?
Yeah.
My gosh, there's got to be 50 books here.
So it's like a Star Wars world almost.
pretty
That just
much.
is much
And there's
less
other
popular.
writers too that are doing it. So yeah. I don't know. I want to go back and just read the original. That's what you guys all need to do. That's your Snarf homework for the next 8 months is read Dune.
Yeah. It's like an 800-page book or 700 some.
It's a quick
book,
read
but
though, I feel like.
It's not at first because you have to understand the words, and the names of things and
Yeah, like Spice.
no, like Harkonnen and then like the
Muad'Dib.
yeah, Muad'Dib and Bene Gesserit.
The Bene Jesuit.
Yeah. I listened to an audio track of Frank Herbert pronouncing each one of these names to see how he actually said it.
Okay.
And he says Bene Gesserit.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And that's what it threw me off because I was pronouncing all of these wrong in my head when I'm reading them. And then I listened to him say it, and I was like, holy shit, like that's how you say that word?
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of a learning curve. And in the back of the book, they actually give you like almost like a thesaurus.
It's like encyclopedia of Dune.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's not like the easiest of reads, but it's not super terrible.
Yeah, but it's entertaining, I should say.
Oh, it's
very entertaining.
Very, very entertaining. There's
it's
so
very,
much stuff that goes on.
It's very deep in your head, like in the characters' heads.
Yes, because
it's very much a drama.
Like the
science fiction drama.
The main character is very much in his own head.
Yeah.
All the time, trying to figure stuff out.
Atreides?
Yeah. Or yes.
Was he House Atreides? Or am I thinking of something else?
No, I think you're right.
The other series of science fiction books I absolutely adore is the Ender's Game series, and I've read like a bunch of those. Highly recommend those as well.
I don't know those.
Oh, they made a movie not that long ago with Harrison Ford.
Yeah, I knew there was a movie. I didn't know it was based off a book series.
Yeah, super famous book. Ender's Game was really, really popular.
Well, it's not famous to me, Chris. Okay.
And
once again, you're attacking me.
Speaker for the Dead, great book. Xenophobia, so I think that's what it's called.
Xenomorphs?
Xenomorphs?
They're in the book too.
By the way, did you see my Facebook post that was like, the world is $250 trillion in debt?
Yes.
Who are we in debt to? Yes. The Decepticons?
The Decepticons?
That was, I stole that off somebody else's Facebook feed. Of course. But
right.
It's a meme.
I kind of steal a lot
It's a
of
meme.
Things, and I feel bad for it. There was, let's see. I know there was one other thing I was going to talk about that I just forgot because we got so wrapped up in Dune.
Dune.
Whatever. Your turn.
Oh, well, we can do some what we're watching.
Yeah.
Or we can read this article about 10 good movies on Netflix to watch on date night.
Sure. We could do a little bit of both.
We also had a couple other things we need to talk about. We have Snarf Madness coming up.
Yeah.
So we need to figure out the details of that. We need to discuss the date night movies.
Yes, we need to discuss the date night movies. But yeah, Snarf Madness is happening relatively soon. We need to get the bracket out soon so you guys can fill it out and send it back to us in a timely manner so we can start it by March. I put out a video 2 weeks ago now just to get you guys ready for that.
Yeah.
Hopefully by the time this episode comes out, we'll
that's
probably already
start
have the
like
bracket.
in March, right?
Yes. We'll start I figured we would start like
after February
recording
1st,
the episodes.
We are going to need to get that bracket out.
Yes.
Or, maybe not February 1st, but
I had a guy...
it'll be within the first couple weeks of February. We're going to have them out on social media. So this is your calling card right now. If you're listening to this podcast, the bracket's probably already out.
Yes.
You need to find a way to get it on our website, snarfcomics.com, or on our social media, or just get a hold of me or Jerry. Send us an email, info@snarfcomics.com. What are we going to do? What is because we haven't really settled on what the bracket challenge is.
No, and I had sent you one bracket of it was like individual characters from comic book world. So you're basically, they're battling each other.
Is it battling each other? But are you ranking them by power?
They are already ranked.
Who you like the most?
No, they're already ranked on there, but it's basically who you would think would win. It doesn't matter.
I don't like doing it as like who you think would win in a fight. I'd rather do it like who you like the most.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's what I would prefer to do.
And we can say that we're doing it that way, but again,
because obviously if we do who's the most powerful,
well, yeah,
Hulk's just going to win.
Then Hulk would win. Yeah. Well, Thor probably would.
Or Superman.
Or Superman, yeah.
Or Batman.
No. I mean, he is my favorite, but no, he would easily get destroyed by Hulk and Superman.
Why?
Really?
Hulk couldn't best Tony Stark in the Hulkbuster armor.
He could. Yes, he could.
Did he?
I don't know, but
Batman would take down Hulk in a second because he could make a device that
would inject
anti his radiation.
He really would.
Like
too.
the Hulk's easy to handle, really, by a scientist.
Right, but Thor not so much.
Thor would be more difficult for Batman, maybe.
Yes, he would.
Well, first of all, the lightning would not affect Batman because he'd have a way to figure that out.
Right.
The super strength, obviously, he took on Superman, so that's not an issue.
He did, which is insane to me.
So really, why would Thor best Superman? He wouldn't.
I have an article up right now that is of they're ranking all of the people that have been involved with the Justice League. It says the most physically strong members of the Justice League ranked. And they start at number 13 and go, down to one from there. Batman's not even on that list.
Well, he's not the most physically strong, obviously.
Well, yeah, that's true.
He's mentally strong.
It says physically strong. You're right. But yeah, obviously, Superman's number 1. You know who's number 2 on this list?
Wonder Woman?
No.
Aquaman?
Nope.
No, I don't.
Martian Manhunter.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And then you know who's number 3?
Zod.
He's not on the Justice League. Captain Marvel, Billy Batson.
Okay.
Which makes sense.
Shazam!
Yeah, Shazam! And then it's Wonder Woman.
Okay.
I think they're slighting her a little bit. I think she's stronger than...
I don't think so.
No?
No.
I guess I don't know how strong Martian Manhunter is. He's got some badass comic books.
So is this... So we're doing individual comic book characters from DC, from all...
I believe it's from both. Let me look up the...
So we're going to have to go
email
through
I
and make
sent you.
edits to that bracket.
Yes.
Because I'm sure this stuff was left out.
And that's what we discussed earlier, is that we would edit the
I
bracket.
don't know, man. Is that what everybody wants to do? I feel like we could do something better.
I had a guy write in to me and say that we should do a music bracket where you have like country, rock, rap, pop, and see what would win.
Nah.
At some point, I think that could be fun when we run out of brackets.
Yeah.
Like,
we could also just update last year's bracket because it was missing a ton of movies.
It was. Yeah, we don't even have... A lot of the movies weren't even
and we could add our own, because we just took a random one and it had a bunch of horror movies and stuff. We could take those out. We could put a bunch of new movies and we could start all over.
Yeah, and it just needs to be curated. I mean, it's something that...
I like the character idea. I like that idea. Let's do that.
I like it too, just because it's different than movies.
But everybody kind of knows what our favorites are.
That doesn't mean it'll play out that way.
The whole idea, though, of Snarf Madness is for us to expound and expand on all the individual characters as we discuss our...
You're exactly right. And the competition here is for people to get close to my bracket or close to your bracket.
Yeah. So what are the winners going to get? We haven't discussed that.
The winners would get, obviously, the new T-shirt or sweatshirt that we get. Maybe both. Maybe they get both a sweatshirt and a T-shirt, new stickers, and what else?
Should we give them a certain level of Patreon? Should we give them bundles of Snarf?
Yeah, they could get a bundle of Snarf, definitely.
Or should we just give them like a $100 gift card?
Yeah, they probably like that better.
Or should we give them a $200 gift card?
That's pretty serious. We could do that.
I mean, well, what do you guys think? How about that? We got 2 weeks until
You're gonna get merch.
Listen. Here's all we're gonna tell you right now. The prizes are gonna be substantial. They're going to be substantial.
Yeah, they are.
You're probably gonna get
kind of excited about
big
that.
gift card. You're probably gonna get a bundle of Snarf, a premium bundle of Snarf, just not a continuing one, but just like a one-time booty package.
Yeah, that's what I would call it too. Just a one-time big old booty package.
Booty everywhere.
Rocking everywhere.
You're going to get a shirt. You're going to get tons of stuff. So everybody spread the word. Like, get everybody involved in this. That's what we need to do. We need to get as many people. We need
so many people involved
hundreds
with
of
this.
brackets.
Hundreds of thousands.
We need to get everybody to get in on this. And the way we're going to do that is by offering huge prizes. So everybody needs to start getting excited right now.
And so like last year, we went as far as like ranking them by points, right? So it was each individual like level. Like the first week you got 1 point, the second week you got 2 points, the third week you got 3 points. Isn't that the way we did it?
Yes.
And it ended up being 6 weeks, or was it 5 weeks worth of stuff?
Whatever the March Madness bracket is.
Yeah. So this bracket that we have that I had sent you has so many different people. I mean, obviously Batman, but there's Peter Venkman, there's Naruto, Optimus Prime, Buffy.
Who's Naruto?
From the show Naruto.
I don't know.
The anime show.
Okay, I don't know what that is. We're going to have to update some of these.
Harley Quinn, Mario's on here.
This is great. I love it.
Goku.
This is what we're doing. This is what we're doing, and here's the deal.
It says what they're from. Master Chief from Halo's on here.
Nice.
I think it's pretty cool.
Okay, we're gonna do that. Here's what we're gonna commit to right now.
Yeah, we're gonna have to make some changes though, because Stewie from Family Guy is on here.
We'll make some changes, but here's the deal. The bracket is gonna be out. Well, it's too late. You've already listened to it. The bracket's gonna come out on February 3rd.
Yes, the bracket was out.
You're gonna have
February
a
3rd.
full month to get your bracket in, to tell other people about it, to get other people to put their bracket in.
And let me look. I will tell you what day we are going to start giving you scores. So the day that we should start scoring this. Where's my calendar? Where'd my calendar go? Would be in March, probably the first week of March. I was just curious as to what that first Friday in March would be. Do you know?
I mean, no, I don't know off the top of my head when the first Friday in March is.
Oh, well, that's silly.
March 6th.
You think it is?
3 days after my birthday.
Oh, there it is. Are you right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Good. Oh, you have a birthday?
Yeah.
I didn't know you were born.
36 years.
So March 6th is the very first episode in March. That should be the first episode that we release a score, right? For the first week.
Yes.
The first week of March, our Snarf Madness would be Friday the 6th.
How many, there'll be 5 rounds, right?
1,
with
2,
the championship?
3, 4. I think we did 5 rounds last time.
I think so too. So
we ended in April last year.
It'll wrap up in April, just
Yeah.
like March Madness. It always wraps up in April.
So again, with these episodes, though, it's not 100% just talking about Snarf Madness. Like, we're not 100% taking over the show with just that. It's just a segment of the show where we give you the scores.
But it will be the first segment in the show.
Yes, right off the bat.
So anyway, get excited about that. If you're listening to this, you only have 2 weeks left to get your brackets in and to tell everybody in the world else to get their brackets in. All you need to do is print it out. You have to print it out somehow.
You'll have to print it out.
And
I mean,
you can
if
either
you
scan and email it to us, you can mail it to us. You can take a snapshot on your phone. Or listen, people, I don't know why everybody doesn't know this. There's a free app for your phone called Microsoft Office Lens. It's a free phone scanner. You can take a picture of it. It scans it. You can send it to us as a PDF.
I have one called Turbo Scan.
And that would be great. If you really just cannot figure that out, then you can write it out and we'll fill it in for you.
We had those last year.
We would prefer to not do that.
You can also, on any computer, convert files into a PDF and make them fillable.
Yeah,
and
that's a little extreme.
It is?
Yeah, you don't have to do that.
It'd be so neat.
Okay, that'd be great. So do one of those things, and we'll get going on the Snarf Madness. Oh, while we're on that, in a completely non-related thing, we put up on Facebook that we wanted listeners to give us suggestions of things to talk about. Let's talk about those things.
We did. So there was only one man that commented on
really
the post.
short. I only did it an hour before we recorded.
Yeah, it was very soon. I was sitting here with everything set up when I actually saw that even happened. And he asked if we could do, if we've ever talked about, like, compared Marvel and DC. We were not prepared to speak on.
So elaborate on that.
No, the first one was what he said. He's like, have you ever compared, or like,
in what respect compared them?
Anything like I guess the comic books, I would assume, is what he meant.
Okay. We've done, no, but that's a whole episode.
It is.
So
that's deep.
We'll probably save that, and it's a great idea, and we definitely will do that.
Yes.
Probably in the coming weeks.
And then the next one was, he asked if we had watched any of the Crisis of Infinite Earths that the CW was doing with Arrow, the whole Arrowverse with Flash and
yes,
all those people. If you listen to last week's episode that Alex was on, we touched on that a little bit, saying, that we really I haven't watched any of it. Chris has watched some.
No, I haven't watched any of it yet.
Okay. Alex watched it, loved it, was really impressed with what they did. I've read some things about it. that sound really impressive, and I talked about it on the podcast where Ezra Miller comes back as the Flash and the two Flashes meet, both Barry Allens from different Earths. I think that's incredible that they're tying in the DCEU extended, cinematic universe and their CW show. It makes me nervous, though, that he's not going to ever come back, though. Like, you're never going to see him again. Even though they've been talking about having a Flash
I don't know that that's true.
movie, I just don't know if they're really going to have that Flash movie.
Right.
Which I think it's really stupid not to. Like, why would you not do that? And what is taking so long? What could possibly take so long to make a Flash movie? I'm not a writer. I'm not a producer. I'm not a director. But there are
just a backseat driver.
Freaking bajillion Flash comic books out there.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to do a bajillion. You do one. It's called Flashpoint.
And that's what they thought. I thought that they were doing.
End of story.
I thought that that's what they were putting together was Flashpoint. What's so hard? I just don't see what's so hard about it when you have the comic books laid out in front of you that tell a story.
Here's
that
what's
you
hard.
Can adapt.
Flashpoint could easily be, it could be the next Infinity War. It could be a collection of all the movies.
It is the next Infinity War for the DC universe.
Well,
I mean, in the comic books, it has so many repercussions in the comics series. Like with the whole Doomsday Clock series that came out, which I have not finished yet. They're all out right now, but I'm waiting for the collected trade to read it. That whole series is because of what Barry Allen did going back in time. It all has to do with that and fixing that stuff. I mean, he's tried fixing it in the future or in the past. Now I'm confused. Time travel is a confusing thing.
They kind of did Flashpoint on the TV show a little bit, but
they tried.
It was a little different. He did mention, or maybe why there are DC TV shows, why DC TV shows are better than the movies, and vice versa for Marvel. We've talked about that a little bit, and we can probably get into that a little more in depth in a future episode. I don't know that I necessarily agree with that. I think there's only one Marvel TV show, right? Which is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm assuming he's including animated.
I would assume it would be animated. DC animated shows are by far better than Marvel's.
Well, DC animated movies, you mean?
Yes.
There's a lot of good Marvel animated movies, too. So we've talked about that on past podcast.
And
I think we did a whole top 10 on it.
The dude was here.
We did top 10
animated movies.
Yeah, we did
animated comic book movies, right?
So go back and check that one out, and we'll get prepared to discuss that more in the future. We actually, he gave us great things to discuss that we should be discussing, but
yes,
we don't have enough time now.
Right, we don't, but that's fine.
We have one other listener comment. Lisa Camp Pfeiffer said, "I'm pretty cool. Discuss."
Oh, there's argument to be said there about your coolness, but you are nice.
No, I think she's pretty cool. She's like the head of the park.
Yeah, we are on the park board together. She is now the president of the park board. I am just a member of the
lowly board. Member.
A lowly member.
I also recently went to a euchre tournament at her house.
I was supposed to go.
That was pretty cool.
They scheduled it for a day I had to work.
Yeah.
He told me, her husband told me the wrong day first, and I said, yes, absolutely, we'll be there. And then the day before it happened, he's like, just checking if you guys are available December 31st at noon. We're like, no, we're not available that day. You told us like January 30th or something like that. It was like a month off. And he's like, I realized that I screwed that up now. And thanks for responding that you're not coming.
Well, the invitation is open for Lisa to come on the podcast and discuss her coolness. You're welcome to come on here anytime.
Absolutely.
And we can discuss our high school days, because me and Lisa went to high school together.
I can tell you what, you'd be a lot cooler than David Seedentop if you came on the podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we know he's not going to.
So, with that, what have you been watching?
Oh, buddy, let me tell you.
I only got two things.
What a mistake this was. So, I had a close friend of mine tell me that there was a show on Netflix. You got to watch it. He's like, I'm only 3 episodes in. He's like, I hate to say it, but I enjoy it a lot more than I should. He's like, and it's actually pretty fun to watch. And then all of a sudden there's these women standing around and they're like, oh my gosh, you got to make it to the last episode. I cried at the last episode. This was so amazing. This is great. It is called Cheer.
Cheer. I've never heard of it.
Oh, well, it's a little documentary about cheerleading.
It's a documentary. Okay.
It's a docu-series.
Docu-series.
About cheerleading. I have absolutely nothing against cheerleading. I also can relate zero to cheerleading. And when it just was not... The first episode I watched last night, Amy and I watched before we went to bed, and I mean, it felt like... They're only 50 minutes, 56 minutes, something for the first episode. And it felt like forever. I was like, is this next episode going to start? It just wasn't very intriguing. I don't like how it was shot. I get that it's a huge competition and they were trying to build that up about, you have 2 minutes and 15 seconds to do what you've been training to do all year long for this national competition. And that's intense. Like, that's an intense thing. Like, you could really build the intensity on that. Just don't feel like they did in the very first episode. And it was kind of boring.
Was it as good as Bring It On?
No. Honestly, no. I mean, Bring It On caught my attention a lot more than what this does.
Yeah.
Even though you're dealing with real people and really going to school, it is kind of cool to me that they're following these kids that go to a junior college in Texas, and this junior college has won this national championship for cheerleading. They won it like 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, and 2018, and then now they were going back 2019 to try to win it again, and it's following them for that year. And there's only so many people that can make it to the mat. So you have 40 people on a cheer squad, and only like 23 of them actually make it to the mat to perform. So it's like a big competition between them all to get on that team. I understand where you can build suspense in this show. They just didn't do it in the first one. I will probably watch the second episode just to see if it gets any better.
I can tell you right now, this will never be something that I watch.
Yeah. I didn't think I would either, and I was like, I'll look at it.
No
Whatever. I had finished Jack Ryan. So
that's what you're watching is. Okay. I've been watching Jack Ryan.
And?
It's a really good show. I really enjoy it. I'm about halfway through the season. I have been watching it at night, and I have had to repeat a couple episodes because I fall asleep, and then I can't. It's very it's not that it's complicated, but you kind of have to pay attention, and I wasn't paying close enough attention, so then I had to go back and rewatch the whole episode. But not because it's boring, just because it was late at night. No, but I really enjoy it, and I love all the characters, and we'll talk more about it when I finish the season. We'll do a review show.
Okay, good.
Because I feel like we didn't really do that in the first season, and it probably deserves it. It's a really good show.
It definitely deserves it, and we didn't do it for the first season. It took me a while to watch the first season. I mean, it had been out for
I think we watched it right away. I can't remember.
We didn't. Amy and I didn't watch it right away, but then once we got into it, it was like, we just binged it all and watched it. But I really liked the second season better. I
like the second season so far better.
I think the development of Jack Ryan is so much better. He's very intense. He's less of an analyst.
Yeah. That's one thing I'm not quite as sure of, but we'll get there.
I do. I like him a lot. I love John Krasinski.
Yeah.
If there was a man that I just want to pick me up and give me a nice solid hug, it's John Krasinski, Doesn't he look like a guy you just want to give a hug to?
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
First of all, I love hugs. Let's get that straight.
All right, Olaf.
Chris? I do. And I'd hug the guy. He has a new commercial out.
I like
the
his
Super
wife
Bowl.
A lot. She's great.
Yeah, she is really great. Emily Blunt.
Blunt.
But he has a new commercial out. It's like a Super Bowl commercial, but they've already put it out. It's for Honda. And him and Rachel Dratch. You remember her from Saturday Night Live?
Yeah.
And then one other guy. Why can't I think of his name? Big Papi's in it. So Big Papi, like the baseball.
Oh, yeah.
What was his actual name? David Ortiz.
Yeah, okay.
And there's one other guy that does. They're doing a Boston accent. They're talking about Pac and Kaz, and I think and they're saying wicked cool. It's a really funny commercial, and I suggest everybody go and watch it right now because it's hilarious.
What else have you been watching?
What did I have written down here? I finally. Yeah, I already talked about finishing that Aaron Hernandez thing, but I finally finished the Kevin Hart documentary.
Oh, yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I like Kevin Hart a lot. I think it's fun just to see
Kevin
what
Hart
he does.
just because he's super inspirational.
Yeah, I just love behind the scenes looks into people's lives, and
Yeah.
I felt like it was a really good description of like what his life is legitimately like. And that dude is super busy. Like, he's making himself busy because he wants to have like a purpose and do things that he enjoys. He's got his own production company. He produces like comedic shows all the time. It's called the LOL Network, which I was not aware of until I got on YouTube and started seeing all these things pop up. And that's what it is. It's like a YouTube series that comes up. He's got a comedy show. And there's one where he sits in an ice bath with another comedian. It's kind of funny. But he's just doing so much stuff. And it is inspirational because you can say, yeah, well, this guy makes hundreds of millions of dollars. He's so rich, you could do whatever you wanted. You're right. But he legitimately did come from nothing and decided to do stand-up when a lot of stand-up comedians are that way. They come from literally nothing and decide to do comedy, and people think they're funny, and it launches them from there. But you have to build that up. Like, it's a trained thing.
Right.
You don't just get to walk in front of someone and then they're like, oh, here's $50 million because you were so funny. No, like, you literally have to go out and grind it out at these comedy clubs late at night whenever you can get a spot. Just like the one guy that we used to watch. What's that show? He was a very Christian man. Crashing. What's that comedian's name?
Pete Holmes.
Yeah.
I love that show. Check that show out on HBO.
So Pete Holmes, that show really describes what comedians do really. I think that show really describes it well, in that you take a spot at a comedy club at 1 a.m. to do your set. There might be 2 people sitting in the club.
Yeah.
And they're going to pay you $50. But you have to continuously do that until you make a name for yourself, and then you can get better spots at the clubs. Yeah, or you don't. But if you start to make a name for yourself, you'll get better spots, earlier shows. Or if you are already the super early show, they'll give you the later show where people show up to, and you just work from there. And it shows what he did. He's very positive about it. It was real because it shows like how bad he screwed up, even being as rich and famous as he is.
Right.
It's like showing the dynamic between his wife and him on like, he's a human being and he's like, I'm an idiot. It's like, I'm trying to constantly better myself, and this is a lot of these things are huge setbacks for me. It's like I fail just like anybody else can fail. I like that. I think it's really neat. So talking about Kevin Hart, I also went and took Grady and saw Jumanji 2 finally.
Oh, finally.
This last weekend.
Can't believe it's still in
It is. I was glad it was because we had a sick child over the weekend here's a good story real quick. We were at a friend's house, brought dinner over. Just Corleone.
Wasn't me.
Nope, wasn't at your house. You would remember this. Grady, we were there for like 50 minutes. Grady was at the top of their stairs and literally fell backwards from the top stair down the stairs. Fell on his back, flipped down the stairs. Knocked all the wind out of him. So Amy runs, like we heard it happen, and kids were screaming. Amy runs in there because he can't breathe because it knocked the wind out of him. And she's going to help him. So as she gets over to meet him, I'm standing in the kitchen, and Grant comes like walking up to me and like projectile vomits all over the kitchen at the exact moment this happened. And we had just eaten spaghetti, so he vomits spaghetti everywhere. And so I start moving him down the hallway to go to the bathroom. And he throws up all the way down the hallway. I get him in the bathroom, all over the floor. Never made an ounce of it in the toilet. So once we got to the actual bathroom to the toilet, didn't need to puke anymore. Just stood there. And so we did a thorough cleanup of basically their entire house, of cleaning this up while Grady sat on the couch like as stiff and straight as he possibly could because he hurt his back, which wasn't actually hurt that bad. He just bruised it real bad and knocked the wind out of him. So he stood real straight. And then we get Grant and everybody out to the car. Grady threw a fit because we had to leave. Like, really? Like, he's like, I don't understand why we have to leave, Dad. Your brother just threw up all over this house and you fell down the stairs and can't move right. We're going home now. Like, the night's over, okay? Can't have fun anymore.
Way to go, kids.
Yeah. And we were there literally 45 minutes before this happened. And then we're like, well, time to go home. So Grant was sick all night long until like 3:30 in the morning. And then on Saturday, he was fine. It was like just...
How are you not sick?
I never got sick. Amy never got sick. There was a bunch of people from school.
You're probably sick right now and transmitting a virus and you don't even know about it. And I'm leaving on vacation in like 4 days.
You're going to throw up all over the
I hate
plane.
You. Don't touch anything in this office.
You're going to throw up all over the plane ride. Anyway, so on Saturday, when Grant was recovering from this flu, Grady was not sick at all. And he was feeling relatively fine besides the bruise on his back. So I said, Grady, me and you are going to go do something. So we went and saw Jumanji 2. And he loved it. I loved it. I don't think it's as good as the first one.
I don't really remember the first one that much, but I like this one a lot. But I also like the first one, but I don't remember enough about it to make a determination on which one I liked better.
Really? We'd watched the first one quite a few times because the boys loved it so much. So we watched it a lot. And I think it was a little bit funnier. I think the second one... I don't want to say it's slow. It's not slow at all. It's just that there are parts that just aren't as funny as the first movie, but I loved it. I think it's still a really great movie. I like how they switch characters a lot. Like each actor gets to switch parts up. It's really fun. If anybody got a chance to see it, good. If you haven't, rent it.
Yeah.
Stream it whenever it comes out.
It's a really good movie.
I love the direction they went with the new Jumanji movies, and they could easily make a third one. They're going to.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Obviously.
Made like $1 billion.
Danny DeVito is amazing. And then the Awkwafina, the lady that I hate her name because her name's Awkwafina, she's unbelievable.
Really good, she's got a new show out that's supposedly really good, and I haven't seen it. But they're talking about it as being great. It's on Comedy Central.
Oh, okay. She had a movie that came out too that was apparently really great.
Yeah, she got nominated for a Golden Globe.
But she got snubbed.
She won it, right?
She got snubbed at the Oscars.
Yeah, but she won it, I think, at the Golden Globes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yep.
What else you got?
That's it. That's all I've watched.
I got two things I started watching briefly. Since I got a new DVR, I had to go in. Yeah, I got a new one just because my old one was crap. I've had an old one that I bought. So... In like 2011,
here we go.
My house got struck by lightning.
Yes.
And it ruined everything.
Burnt to the ground.
I got a new TV. I got a new AV receiver. And it burned out the HDMI port on my DVR.
Oh,
so I ordered a new one.
Just the port or the DVR?
The whole DVR.
Okay.
Insurance paid for all of it.
Yeah.
So I plugged in and I could never get it to work. I called DirecTV, blah, blah, blah. It would just get stuck on this activation screen.
Really?
So I'm like, well, whatever. The old one still worked with the, not composite, the, the
audio visual cables, like red, yellow.
Yeah, not like the two, not red, white, and yellow, but with like the red, blue, and green.
Green. Oh, okay. Yes.
It's not component.
Component.
So you still get HD.
I gotcha. Yes.
And it still had an optical audio output, and I have an AV receiver, so it really makes no difference. So I've been using it. And then finally, I was getting a new TV. I'm like, I'm going to get out that brand new DVR still in the box. That's been sitting in the box since 2011. Because it's way better than the one I had. The one I had is from like 2005.
Okay.
Or 6, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's super slow, and it has like no storage, and it's always full.
Yes.
So I get it out, I plug it in. Still can't get it to work. Can't get it to activate on DirecTV. So I call up the company that I bought I bought it on Amazon, but the company that
Oh, here we go. It's like a black market deal.
no, it's a DirecTV box, but I bought it through a company called Solid Signal. They're a huge DirecTV supplier.
Oh, okay.
And in the box, there's a piece of paper that said, if you're having problems, don't call DirecTV to activate, call Solid Signal. And it gives you a number.
Really?
And I'm like, oh, okay.
Never saw this 9 years
So
ago.
I called Solid Signal and I'm talking to them and then they're like, yeah, it's not working. The number won't even come up in their system. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, when did you get this? And I said, I think like a couple years ago.
They knew you were lying.
And they finally looked up the order number. They're like, 2011? And I'm like, yeah.
Whoa.
They're like, well, it's still the most current model DVR.
It is?
Yeah, they got newer ones now, but they've changed their system. Like for what it is, it's good to go. Like it's a good model. It's actually people seek out this model versus the new ones because the older ones are better.
Huh. That amazes me that the way technology goes, that it would still even be relevant.
There are new ones that are like 4K and they're better for this or that. But like there's a lot of people that want these older boxes for whatever reason.
Strange.
So she's like, yeah, I mean, that's a great box. She goes, but, like 2 years ago, DirecTV changed their whole like system and it's like impossible to activate that box now. It's literally garbage.
No way.
They're like, just throw it away. And I'm like, well, no.
Like, no, I'm not going to throw
Like,
this
I paid
away.
for this. Make it work.
Yeah.
And they're like, you can't do it. Throw it away. So I'm like, whatever.
They can't make it work.
I get super pissed off. Whatever. Hang up the phone. So I call DirecTV back and I tell them everything that just transpired. And the guy I got on the phone, and mind you, I've talked to DirecTV now like 6 different times over the last 5 years.
And the guy's like, no, we can make it work.
5 minutes.
No way.
Yeah. 5 minutes.
So is there like
worked.
Is it like a cheat code where he's like, all right, up, down, left, right, A,
I
B?
think that's what it was. I think it's like you've tried to activate this 6 times. Like I have tried many times before, but every time they're like, we have to send out a tech. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to sit around and wait for a technician. Make it work.
My dad just had a recent run in with the old DirecTV, and because I told him he needs to update stuff. Like he had a terribly old TV, and he has the original receiver from DirecTV that he got and remote when I still lived at home. So like even before I deployed, lived at home. So we're talking my senior year, like 2005, 2004, like around that area when they had upgraded to that one. So it's at least 15 years old, 16 years old, something like that. And I went over there and I'm like, Dad, you have to update this stuff. It looks ridiculous. You just need to do it. So he wanted to update his internet and the boxes that he's got, and he had already bought a new TV. That's what sparked me telling him he had to upgrade. I said, because you don't have like an HD receiver for any of your stuff. So you have this nice HD TV you just bought, and it still has this really crappy small box.
Like standard definition picture.
Yeah. And I said, you can't do this. You have to update it. So he calls. They tell him, oh, yeah, you can get the Uverse stuff, and we're going to upgrade you to this. We just have to cancel your subscription and do a new one. He's like, okay. So, this was through AT&T. And so through AT&T, that's what they were going to do.
That's terrible.
Well, then they're
AT&T is awful.
They're like, hang on. Yeah, I know. And then they're like, well, we have to cancel your previous subscription. Okay. He's like, and then we have to start a new subscription for you. And he kept saying like, well, why can't you just like give me the new stuff? Like stop the old one and start the new one. They're like, well, who was your provider before this? He's like, you're my provider. They're like, no, we didn't do that. He's like, I've had this phone number for 35 years. He's like, and everything I've ever gotten from DirecTV has been for like 30 years. He said, I've never changed anything. This is all through you guys. Like, I don't understand.
Well, DirecTV got bought by AT&T.
By AT&T, yeah. And he's like, none of this has changed. My account is the same. They're like, it looks like this is from a different provider. And he's like, no, I'm telling you, this is all through you. So he talked to like 8 different people on 8 different days. And finally, the last guy he talked to, he asked him, he's like, well, who's your provider? He said, AT&T. I've told every one of you. He's like, oh, this is like a 5-minute fix then. Really? It took him like 8 days with a bunch of different people for hours
That's what happened to me.
of stuff. And he's like, I don't understand how that ever would happen. He's like, how would you not know that my phone number has been provided through AT&T? It's just unbelievable.
It's unbelievable that you still get a phone number.
He's had a landline forever.
My parents even got rid of theirs.
Did they?
They switched a while ago to...
I think I would have an emotional issue with them getting rid of that phone number.
They still have the phone number. They just switched it to a VoIP
Oh, yeah.
service. UMA, it's called. And it costs like $5 a month.
Yeah. I mean,
But
that's
they
what
transfer their number.
Uverse does the same thing, like AT&T Uverse.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
But
So anyway,
Yeah.
I got a new DVR, so I had to go back and re-record all the shows I had. So I was just like, oh, there's new shows because it's a new year. So there's a bunch of new shows on.
yes.
And I've watched some of them. I watched that Unicorn. I talked about that last week. I've been watching that. It's not bad.
Yeah, what's that on?
Don't know. One of them.
Unicorn.
There was one called Somebody's Extraordinary Playlist where she hears music in her head.
Yeah, that's a movie, isn't it?
No, it's a TV show. I haven't watched that one yet. I recorded it.
Well,
though.
there was a movie called that,
Sure.
and then they made it into a TV show.
Must have. But there was a new comedy on Fox called Outsmarted. The whole reason I even was interested in the first place, I don't like sitcoms in generally, newer ones anyway.
There hasn't been really a good one in years.
No, well, Big Bang Theory was pretty good.
All right, it's all right.
But anyway, it came out. The only reason I was interested is because the stars of it are Jason Biggs.
Ooh, I like him.
I like him. And then Maggie
Gyllenhaal?
Lawson, I think is her name. She was on the show Psych, and I loved her on the show Psych, and I love the show Psych.
Oh yeah, Psych was a really good show.
He was like Sean's love interest. She
Yeah.
was the female cop.
Yes, I remember her.
So I'm a big fan of hers. So I flipped this thing on. I'm like, all right, I'll check it out. I mean, whatever.
What was the name of this again?
Outsmarted.
Outsmarted.
The premise is parents of 3 genius children.
Okay, I've seen promos for this.
It is literally the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I could not get through.
Oh no!
Literally could not get through 5 minutes of it.
Really?
The laugh track is so ridiculous. It has a laugh track, which why is that still?
Why
a
is
thing?
that still a thing? Yeah.
And not a live studio audience, a recorded laugh track. Like Big Bang Theory had a live studio audience.
Right.
Now, granted, it still had a laugh track.
In
They
parts,
all do.
yeah,
They
for
all do.
sure.
They're not recording the laughter of the audience, I
Right.
don't think. But this is the worst laugh track I've ever heard. And it's like constant. Like every single thing they say, there's a cue in for a laugh track. And it's outrageous.
Oh my gosh!
And it's not funny. It's terrible. It's
So-
really, really bad.
So it's gonna have about 4 or 5 episodes.
I don't even
and
think
be-
it'll get that many. It's really
Take it
bad.
off.
It's really, really bad. So that's garbage. Do not watch that. Marley flipped on a
Yeah,
show.
but now I kind of want to watch it.
You need to see
how
it
bad
just to see how bad it is.
I mean, I think that's
Seriously.
a thing, right?
You don't have Fox though, so well, you have
Yeah, I
antenna.
do.
Yeah,
I
okay.
got Hulu.
There's another show on Netflix, I believe, that Marley started watching the other day. Somehow she got wrestled control of that fire remote. I don't know how. It's a very rare thing
That's
that happens.
awful.
Whenever she gets a hold of the television, it turns to news, and then I throw a hissy fit like a child.
No,
No, we
No.
don't watch the news. I freaking hate the news.
I don't really like
just
the news at all.
hate it.
why does she always watch the news?
That's
you do
all
talk
she
about
wants
this.
to watch is the news.
Why?
I don't know, man, but I can't. stand
Amy
it.
never watches the news. Amy has no idea what's going on in the world.
Marley doesn't even watch it. Really, she doesn't even pay attention. I don't know, but anyway, there was a show on a new show called Virgin River. So she flipped it on because it was
Okay.
they were advertising it on Netflix, and
It's on Netflix?
yeah, it's really bad too. It's bad, dude.
Like bad production, bad acting,
I
bad
don't know.
story.
Yes, all the above. It's like the characters are so cliched, and the dialogue is so hokey, and it's like this woman from LA that moves to this like small town in Northern California.
You've already killed it for me. I can't stand that.
You know, she can't get along. You know, they're just country folk. We live out in the middle of
they're
nowhere.
so dumb.
They're in Northern California, but they literally, it's like they live in it's like they live in the outskirts of Alaska with no communication with the outside world whatsoever. That's how they're portraying this town and these people. It's insanity.
In Northern California.
Yeah. And anyway.
Isn't that something?
It's so bad. The whole time me and Marley are both like, this is the worst thing ever. And then something else would happen and we're like, I can't believe how bad
why
this
are we
is.
watching this?
I couldn't stop though.
Really?
Episode 1 ended and I'm like, I gotta see what happens in episode 2.
So
there's actually some good actors.
So there was some buy-in to the characters. Like what was happening to these characters?
I think it was just, it's like,
because
it's like bad soap opera. Like so bad you can't stop watching.
I mean, General Hospital was not bad.
It's like that kind of, but some of the acting is pretty good. Some of the acting is atrocious, but some of the actors you'd recognize from other things. I don't know their names, but you've seen them and stuff.
Yeah. Willem Dafoe.
No, I don't know if I'll continue watching any of it. I doubt it.
So you watched two episodes?
I watched 2 episodes. Yeah.
What the premise is just a lady that moves from.
It's a lady that's obviously gone through some trauma in her life, and you don't really know why. But there's flashbacks in every episode, like giving you a backstory. I don't know if her husband died or what happened. I don't know exactly. But she's a nurse, and she's like an ER nurse in LA, like a high-powered ER nurse.
Yes.
And she moves to this small town because the town has this old doctor who's like in his 70s. And for some reason, the town is hiring the nurse for the doctor. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
The town hires her to come be a nurse practitioner. She's a nurse practitioner for the doctor to like help take over his practice.
Sure.
Because he's getting old. But he's like a curmudgeon.
Because that's what they do.
Because he's like a curmudgeon old doctor, and he's like set in his ways of medicine.
Right.
But you find out deep down, like he's got his reasons for being the way he is. And maybe she could learn a thing or two about the way things really are in the real world.
Right.
And maybe he could learn a thing or two about the value of teamwork and the value of modern medicine.
Yeah. Of modern day medicine.
This is what this show is about. And the whole time, you know, of course, she wants to leave this town. There's all these problems.
Yeah,
she doesn't want to be there. The cabin that she was supposed to live in because she's got room and board for a year on her contract from the city to be a nurse for a private doctor. The cabin's a piece of shit.
Of course.
Not what it was advertised.
No cell phone signal.
Yeah, we'll fix up this cabin. Head on up to Jack's bar while we do that. Of course, the bartender is a handsome folk.
A handsome man.
But he's a Marine, and he's got some PTSD issues.
Okay. Oh my God. You're not selling anything.
She learns the value of small town living and the beauty of the Virgin River.
Just don't understand why you ever watched this. I don't understand why you would ever have ingested.
I didn't. Marley turned it on, but honestly, she wanted to turn it off. And after the first episode, I'm like,
and you're like, no, I need to find out why they hired her.
I need to find out why there's an abandoned baby on the porch of the doctor's office. Whose baby is that?
Who cares? It's not a real baby.
So I've been watching that. The other thing I'm going to start watching, and I haven't, and I made a post about this, but I'm kind of excited for it. There is a young lady that I know that I went to Africa with actually years ago. She's a friend of the family, and her parents are really close friends of the family, and she is gone on. I don't know exactly all her backstory. It'd be cool to have her on actually to talk about what she's doing sometime.
That would be great.
But she's
I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah, she's an actress, and she was starring in some live productions in Chicago.
Oh, really?
Like small theater production type things, and
yeah.
And I actually think it was Evanston, but I'm not really sure. But my parents have gone up to a couple of her different shows, and my dad actually called me and he goes, "Have you seen Chloe? Is her name? Have you seen what
Chloe? I like that name.
Yeah. Have you seen what she's been doing lately?" And I said, "No." He goes, "Well, I really think you guys should have her on the podcast because she's doing exactly the same thing you guys are doing." And I'm like, "Huh? What is she doing?" Anyway, so her and her friends, I don't know, friends, colleagues, actors, whatever, producers, they've made a web series that they are releasing now, starting about a week ago now from this.
Yeah.
It's called Like What You Like, and it's a series, a web series that is going to be on YouTube and Facebook that they have created, written, star in, shot, and like this isn't like fan stuff. They're like really artists.
No, this is real. Yeah.
And it's written to be based on a Shakespeare play.
Okay.
I don't know enough about Shakespeare. I know he wrote like 800 billion plays, so it's probably one I've never heard of.
Yeah. A lot of it they think, though, wasn't actually him.
I know. Let's not talk about that right
Okay.
now. But they have a full-length trailer out, and actually, now that you're listening to this, the show is actually already out. So if you go on Facebook to Like What You Like the series, you can follow it along. Or if you go on YouTube, I believe it's subscribe to Tiny Cat Productions on YouTube, and you can catch each of the 5 episodes in the arc as they come out. It says as they come out this fall, but it's coming out this spring or this winter. Featuring an all-Chicago cast, Like What You Like was shot on a Google Pixel phone with Moment lenses by cinematographer Paul Stafford.
I was just looking at Moment lenses today.
So
They look amazing.
These guys are doing exactly what we want to do, and they are liking what they like, and they're putting their art out in the world, and it's really inspiring to me. And
Do you have like her contact information? Like, is there a way we can contact her to get her on the show?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can. Totally, we can get her on the show.
Because I think that would be
if she wants to be on it.
Phenomenal thing to get her on, to have her
but they have
talk about what she's doing.
Yeah, they have the Facebook and YouTube, and from the looks of it, I'm sure they could use the publicity, and it would be great if everybody that listens to our show would take 2 minutes right now to go to Like What You Like the series on Facebook or Tiny Cat Productions on YouTube. Check it out and just comment and leave a review, and maybe mention that you listen to Snarf Talk and that's where you heard about it. That would be great for all parties involved. So that's a really easy thing you can do for free right now to do us a huge favor, and I think it would help them out tremendously, because it's key to like the sharing and the viral nature of things is how you are able to be successful on social media. Social media is a difficult platform to break into.
Yes, it is.
So I think we should support them. And if you watch it, and I haven't watched it yet, so we'll watch it all and we'll review it. If you don't like it, then it doesn't matter. You can still support artists by giving them encouraging words and giving them exposure. That's all they're asking for. So
yeah,
please do that. That would be great.
It looks very interesting. There was
I like their trailer. They have some like funny moments in it, and it looks cool. I'm definitely going to check it out. I watched the trailer and I was intrigued enough, but I also just thought like, it looks like they're doing something cool here. I definitely want to check it out.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's that. That's all I got. That's all what we're watching. I've been listening to some podcast stuff, but we don't really have time to talk about those, so I'm not going to talk about those.
So that's it, I think, for this week. We've reached our time limit.
You guys will have to tune in next week for 10 good movies on Netflix to watch on date night.
Yeah, because...
Or maybe we'll release it for Patreon. I thought I brought it up as a joke, and then I started looking through the list. I'm like, oh... There are some good movies on here. Oh, I wouldn't mind talking about a couple of these movies.
You know what I bet? What's on there? Like
what?
One of the movies that's on there, 500 Days of Summer, a Zooey Deschanel movie.
It's not on there, but there is one movie starring.
That's not in there.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt. There's another movie with him on here.
Dark Knight Rises.
Nope.
Yep, nailed it.
Nope, but there is a comic book movie on here.
There is.
It's a pretty interesting list.
Yeah, we'll have to get into it another time.
I mean, we could do it on Patreon right now.
We could. Maybe.
All right, so check out patreon.com/snarfcomics and subscribe to get additional podcasts. We got a bunch of them out now, so you have no excuse.
Lots of stuff.
We also have levels where you can get t-shirts. We haven't sent those out yet. They will be coming if you're a subscriber. Trust me, they're coming. We're waiting to queue up a big order because it's cheaper that way.
Big old order.
We have new stickers coming out. We have new t-shirts that are going to be coming out with a new design. Check out our blog over at snarfcomics.com. We do recaps of every show. You can also catch the show on there, plus additional blog articles, usually written by Jerry, on a variety of subjects. And if you could just give us a shout out on any of our social media by leaving us, the best thing to do is leave us reviews.
Reviews are the best,
iTunes
people.
is the best, or on Apple Podcast app, but also on Facebook. And like and subscribe to our Instagram and Facebooks at Snarf Comics, Twitter as well. And just engage and spread the word. That's one thing we've been asking about lately, is to spread the word, spread the gospel of Snarf. Talk to a couple of your friends, get them to listen to the show. That helps us out a lot. It also helps us out for you to send us ideas and show ideas and things you'd like us to talk about. To the guy that sent us those ideas for this week that we didn't get to, we will get to those.
We're getting to them.
They're on our list now, so thank you, and we do appreciate that. And I wish we would have talked about them more to reward you for that participation.
And
but we will send you a sticker.
Get on the website, get on any of our social media, get your Snarf Madness bracket, fill it out.
That's the big thing right now.
In.
Get your Snarf Madness bracket, but also get a bunch of other people to do the Snarf Madness bracket. And we're not joking around this year. Last year we did do gift cards, but it was like a mystery gift card. But we did end up doing like $50 gift cards or something, plus T-shirts and stickers. Yeah. This year it's going to be significantly more.
Yeah, it's going to be like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Significantly more money. So people, you want to be involved.
Please. Yes. Please and thank you. So for this week, I've been Jerry.
I've been Chris.
See ya.